welcome to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Randazzo. Huh?
Did we just get banned already?
What do you mean?
What are you talking about, dude?
No, we're not.
Good right now?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good. No, we're not banned yet. We will be, but we're not banned yet.
Shout out to P. Wooden and
Not yet.
TikTok.
Oh.
We see you, P. Wooden.
Yeah, P. Wooden. What's up, P. Woods?
Tell your friends.
You guys, today is a good day. Got a couple co-hosts to my right. It is the one and only. It's Uncle Sam.
Hello.
To my left, it is none other than our very own Mr. Zolo, Mike Palazzolo.
Good afternoon.
And behind the computer, just as salty as a pile of his own goo, it's Bruce, the tugboat. Venditti.
Hello.
Shout out to President Baker in the chat. Shout out to Billy in the chat.
Who?
Billy?
Billy who?
Billy's in the chat.
Oh, is he?
Billy's in the
I
chat.
thought he was in Chicago. All right.
Shout out to Allie. Everybody's out there.
Shout out to Allie. Shout out to President Baker.
Great to see you guys. It's a good day today. It's a good day.
See what Leon wrote at the bottom there? Remember
Uncle
I was
Sam
telling
called
you?
me fat this weekend, and I haven't been right since. So, it is what it is.
Why'd you call him fat?
Because you can only throw down so much Wong's Fu Wall before you start to pack on the pounds.
My man's stomach was sticking out because, you know, Leon's not heavy chested. So his titties are kind of little and his stomach was barreling over his little sweatpants. He got to do something with that. That and that beard, he needs to either shave it or put the hot comb to it.
Zolo, how's your weekend?
Good. Got a lot of chores done on Saturday. Got fiber.
Fiber internet.
AT&T fiber,
Very
yeah.
nice. Very
It's
nice.
good. I'm happy about
Big
it.
move. It's a big move. Uncle Sam, how's your weekend?
That was great.
Yeah?
Living a dream.
Good time?
Living a dream.
There we go. Hey, Bruce, how's your weekend?
Quite all right.
Good. Good. I'm glad to hear it. So there's a Super Bowl on last night. Where do you guys want to start with this one? I don't want to waste any time. I want to go right
Start
into
at the
it.
beginning.
You know what? Can I just start making off-the-cuff comments, and then you guys can just shred me apart?
Yeah, let me take notes.
Okay. Obviously, unless you live under a rock, you watch the game. Eagles won the game 40-22 over the Chiefs. And this game was over at the half. It was 24-0 at the half. And there was not one redeeming quality in my eyes about the Kansas City Chiefs last night. In my opinion, you can no longer be in the GOAT conversation if you have the worst statistical quarterback.
You need to
Hold
stop
on.
right now,
Can I just
dude.
let me finish and then
Way
you can
too
go there.
early for all that shit.
You can let me finish. You can go there. You can no longer be in the GOAT conversation when you have the worst statistical quarterback Super Bowl of all time. The worst. 3 times worse than the guy in front of you, which was Jared Goff in 2018. I'm just going to start there. I think now the fact that the Chiefs have been fraudulent all year just got blown up and just was thrown in everybody's face last night. It wasn't bad. It was awful. They were awful. Mahomes was awful. The play calling was awful. The defense packed it in at the half. Everybody wants to crown the Chiefs defense for their first half. It was okay, but they packed it in at the half. And when you are a certain caliber, you don't just pack it in at the half. Just saying. You don't expect that out of the Kansas City Chiefs. To me, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, because I was wrong about the Chiefs all year, that you watched the end of the Chiefs' quote-unquote dynasty last night. That was it. That's the end. That was the end of it. It was just so bad. It was so bad. And they've never played like that. It has never happened. Mahomes has never looked that bad. The Chiefs have never looked that bad. And you want to know what? I was so happy. And because I hate Philadelphia too. I had no skin in this game. I was so happy to watch them disintegrate. Jake in the chat. I never want to hear Mahomes and Brady in the same sentence. Hopefully you don't.
Oh, Jake, you're knobbing his knob just like this idiot does next to me. You need to stop right now. How old is Pat Mahomes? How old is Pat Mahomes?
He young.
Still in his 20s, no?
He big young. He's 29. So when the season
All right,
kicks
he's
off
29,
next year,
okay?
he'll be turning 30.
Let's see, because you know what? The game is structured for Patty Mahomes to play till he's 40. Then we'll see. Time will tell.
Okay.
You can't say that he is not considered the GOAT because it's not over.
Right now, he ain't.
My man's
don't
got
wanna hear
about 15 more years to go.
Don't want to hear it.
see.
Don't want to hear it. 15 more years?
Oh, yeah.
15 more years. So you're
At
gonna
least.
cherry pick the one fact that Tom
At
Brady
least.
played till
Same
he's
fucking
44.
way, dude.
Mahomes
Same
ain't
way.
playing until he's 44.
There you go.
The Chiefs
Listen,
organization
they're going to be there next year.
Yeah, okay.
They're going to be there. The Chiefs, listen, y'all better wake up.
You
'cause
watched-
they're going to be there again
You
next
watched
year.
the changing of the guard
They
last
will be
night.
there again next
You
year.
watched the changing of the guard last night. This
No,
is
you-
no longer Pat
You're
Mahomes'
just watching
league.
the NFC fucking
This is no
get
longer
past
his
the
league.
AFC. That's all you're watching.
Listen, that the Chiefs that we have watched for the last 5 years will not be replicated again next year.
Anyway.
It's not there.
Anyway.
It is not there. You cannot.
They'll reload and they'll be there again
They
next
will not
year,
be
and
there
then you'll
again
be
next year.
complaining and they're a fraud.
They
And
won't.
then they'll win another fucking Super Bowl.
They will not be there again next year.
Patty Mahomes will be cute.
That Chargers team wins that division next year. I'm sorry.
And-
The writing's on the wall. I told you, the wheels have to come off.
I wouldn't be shocked if the Chiefs lose the division next year.
Neither would I.
There's gonna be
They're
some
going to be there.
there's gonna be some attrition. There's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
They're going to be
there's
there
gonna
at
be
the
some
end,
stuff.
dude.
Yeah. Guess what?
You don't know. This loss might motivate them, dude.
That only
Because
works.
that's exactly what happened to Denver after they got their asses handed to them by Seattle. You remember they came back hard that next
There
year.
has never been a team that has sustained that long. I'll give it to them. They have had a great 6-year run. It's over. It's done.
Not over, dude.
It's done, dude. It's
You're
done.
counting
You
your
watched
chickens
it
before they're
happen
hatched.
last night.
The only thing that was worse in that game is listening to Tom Brady for fucking 2 hours. Wanted to blow my brains out.
Doesn't matter. Tom Brady was a big winner last night. He was a big winner. Because if Mahomes wins that game, then you're talking about it. Then it's the three-peat. Then it's the GOAT. And it's not. Because you cannot. You know, you were talking about Jordan before we got on air. There was never a finals where Jordan had the worst statistical finals of his entire career. Out of anybody who ever played. It's not there. You cannot have a performance like that game
You
will
to
go
put Tom
down.
Brady on that team, he wouldn't have made it to the half.
Whatever.
He
Been there
couldn't
and done
move.
it.
He wouldn't have made it to the half.
Brady did
He'd
it
have
with
been
worse
blown
teams
out of
than
that game in the first quarter.
Brady did it with worse teams than that.
Bullshit.
No, it's not. It's factual. It's factual. That conversation is done. It's done. And if go on anywhere you want to look and take a peek, that's the rhetoric today. That's it. There was nothing redeeming.
Why does
about
that have to? Why are we looking at it from the lens of the Tom Brady thing? Like, why does it have to be that?
Because if you're gonna anoint somebody, if you're gonna anoint them as the GOAT,
Nobody anointed him.
Yeah.
oh yeah, please.
I mean, first things first, he's by far the best quarterback in the league at the moment.
Correct.
And he's every bit coming from a Michigan fan that's on his knees for Michigan football over here. He's had every bit the success as Brady has had at the same age that Brady did. And he's got like at least 10, he's 29, he's got 10 years left. So he can accomplish everything. Like, to call him the GOAT right now is insane, but also the counter to that is to not recognize his talent is also insane. Like, it's insane because he has the accolades.
He's talented. Absolutely. What we saw last night was the end of it. It was the end.
You don't think he's ever going to win anything ever again?
Win anything ever again, yeah, but go on a 6-year run in the manner that they have. No, it's not
Yeah,
there.
Brady didn't do that.
I mean, and
Brady didn't do that.
Brady did it twice.
No, he didn't.
he hasn't done what Reed and Mahomes have done for the last 7 years.
No.
He hasn't. 7 straight AFC title games.
No.
To credit that, I mean, I know I'm factoring in the Eagles right now, but Andy Reid tied Bill Belichick in playoff games coached yesterday, just for some context.
There
Like
you go.
that's how impressive, because most of that has come over the last 7 years. It's come since 2012. It's extremely impressive what Mahomes did. And listen, I'm not trying to shit on your take. I'm not trying to do that at all, because I love Tom Brady. But to not recognize like how it, like, just because of a Super Bowl loss, to not recognize how incredible Mahomes is at the same time with his full career ahead of him. Like, the only thing I was thinking of last night is like, yeah, he's probably not going to be back. I don't think the Chiefs are going to be back for a year or two. At least. I think it's going to be a while. I think they need a complete rebuild. But also the counter to that is, well, all of a sudden he's got a guy in Worthy. He's got a guy in Rashee Rice when he comes back. They have some semblance of a running game in Pacheco, and those guys were injured all year. Like, it's not hard for them in 2 or 3 years, just like it wasn't hard for the Patriots. It took the Patriots a
I
little
don't
longer.
think it's hard for him to rebound this year, Tom.
I
think Noah Gray is going to be a stud.
Yeah. Oh,
When he
agreed.
becomes
Agreed.
an
But there's
actual
going to
main
be
target.
it's going to be difficult for the Chiefs to get back to this point in the immediate future. I don't think it's going to happen immediately. But it's Pat Mahomes. 100%. He's going to be back at some point,
Yeah.
and it's going to be sooner rather than later. Like, before the end of the
yeah.
decade, this team is going to be right back to where they were. It's Mahomes. You know, he's that fucking good. Now, if you're running away with a take that all these people are anointing him the GOAT, like, no, he's not the GOAT yet, because no one's the GOAT before their career's over. That's not possible. It's physically not possible to do that. But yeah, I mean, Mahomes does some really special shit. Like, you can call it garbage time all you want, but like the throw with 3 minutes left to Worthy for the one touchdown, I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, they could have used a couple more of these the entire game. It would have been a completely different game.
Yeah, that's against the fucking second and third team guys.
And on top of that, something else I take a little bit of exception to, if you're putting the full brunt of the like, Jared Goff deserves the brunt of the blame for why the like, player-wise, why the Lions lost to the Commanders. If you're putting the blame on Mahomes for his offensive line being completely in over their heads, blocking one of the best. Do you remember, have you seen a D-line better than that Eagles D-line? Is there an
It's been a while.
the one that comes to mind is the 07 Giants, and it was still
Yeah.
older. I don't think it's as good as that Eagles D-line.
I want to say that D line from fucking Denver against fucking Carolina.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Fucking exceptional in that.
Yeah, that was a good one. And the Rams D-line from a couple. I don't think the Rams D-line was as good as the Eagles D-line yesterday.
No.
But
They had Aaron Donald and a couple other guys.
to put the brunt of the blame on Mahomes for yesterday, when he, like, guy was running for his life from the first moment they touched the ball
I've never seen Pat Mahomes get sacked like that. Never.
without blitzing anybody,
Without blitzing.
anyone.
There was no spy. There was no nothing. And they
Dude.
they collapsed the pocket.
Brandon Graham, shout out to Brandon Graham, by the way, Detroit kid, University of Michigan, went out on top. So fucking cool. Brandon Graham hasn't played football in 5 months, and he came in with one hand and absolutely destroyed Joe Tooney, who's the only D-line or the only offensive lineman that had played somewhat well for the Chiefs all year was Tooney. And they just, like, everyone was eating for the Eagles yesterday. So I find it hard. Like, you can say, like, you're not the GOAT after that. Like, that's fine. I'm not calling him the GOAT. I mean, I think he's the best quarterback in the league at the moment. I'm not calling him the GOAT, but there's so much more. Like, the story is nowhere near. Like, Brady played till he was 45. That's 16 years from now for Mahomes. 15 and a half years from now is 45 for Mahomes. So he's got 3 Super Bowls, 5 Super Bowl appearances or 6 Super Bowl appearances? 5 Super Bowl appearances in 3 Super Bowls. He did that faster than Brady did it. So
He's done that faster than anybody, really.
there's a chance he never plays in
Yeah.
one again, of course. But
Yeah.
like this guy's pretty good, and we have not heard I think it's done for a little bit, but we have not heard the last.
Jim
of
Kelly
all
did that too, though. Jim Kelly, man, they won
That's true.
championship.
4 in a row.
He went to 4 straight Super Bowls. Nobody's ever done that.
To 4 straight, correct.
The 4 straight.
And lost all
Period.
4.
And lost all 4. Lost one on a fucked up kick that was missed. You should have won.
What?
Should have won. They should have won one.
If I'm gonna dole out blame, Mahomes played the worst game of his career.
I don't think you
But
can blame him.
okay, hold on.
I don't.
You can't blame him. It
No.
was the worst game of his career.
Listen to me, dude. When you seen what was happening there up front,
Why aren't you
what
ready?
do you want him to do?
Why aren't you prepared? Why is that
Prepared?
team not prepared?
Hey, it wasn't about being prepared. They were just outgunned.
You're
They were outmanned and outgunned, outplayed.
this.
And all three phases of the game. Offense, defense, and
They have the 4th ranked offensive line in football. The Chiefs.
I don't believe that.
Well, I'm just telling you what it is.
I don't know who's ranking offensive line.
Pro Football Focus.
That is a fucking joke.
4th ranked offensive line in football.
You just said it to yourself. Pro Football Focus. Fraud.
You have 3 All-Pros on that offensive line.
Fraud.
You have 3 All-Pros on the offensive line. Okay, fraud. It's 3 All-Pros on the offensive line.
You had a fucking guard that was over there playing fucking tackle because the tackle that was there was getting fucking eaten alive. It's just
Hold on.
they were garbage.
I wanna change course a little bit here because you and I picked the Eagles and we picked the
Correct.
Eagles. We picked the Eagles
and
for
the
a
over.
reason. We picked the Eagles. Did I pick the over?
I picked the over.
I think I picked the over
You
too.
picked the under. I picked the over.
Are you sure? Didn't I say these games
I
always
was the
go
only
over?
one who picked the under.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think I said these games always go
I
over.
thought you picked the under.
Super Bowls mostly go over. Like
Yeah.
it's very rare that they don't go over. The Eagles were damn good yesterday, and I think like if you want to talk about like silencing, Nick Sirianni was on the hottest of hot seats at the beginning of the year. Could have lost his job midseason. We've talked about it on this show. I think Nick Sirianni is one of the best coaches in football. I don't think anyone can argue it at this point. Now I know he had some help from a couple coordinators, namely Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio walked into a perfect situation. He walked back to where he's from, an organization he's familiar with, that had all of the pieces to call the defense that perfectly suits him. We're going to have good D-line play. We're not going to blitz because our D-line is so good. We're going to put our corners who are really good in zone, and everyone else is going to eat because of it. Vic Fangio deserves a ton of credit. Nick Sirianni deserves a ton of credit. Ready for this one? People have been calling Jalen Hurts a running back for like 3 years now. I've been saying for 3 weeks now that in order for Jalen Hurts to go the distance here, he's going to have to throw the ball. He had a damn good time throwing the ball to all of his receivers yesterday. Every throw was perfect. There's no reason why Jalen Hurts shouldn't be in the conversation for one of the best quarterbacks in the league at the moment. He earned his stripes last night. And I get it. The Chiefs' defense may not be as good as it was 2 years ago. That's still a pretty good Chiefs defense. That played, I thought, decent yesterday. They were mitigating them. Credit to all of them. I'm happy for Jalen Hurts. He's a good dude. Really good dude. Like, is there anything unlikable about Jalen Hurts?
No.
I'm happy for Jalen Hurts. I'm really happy for Brandon Graham. I'm happy for Darius Slay. Like, that guy, I think he got there the year after or 2 years after. Was it the year? The year after. He got there the year after. He's still one of the best corners in the league. I would love to have him back. Credit to Darius Slay. It was awesome. The White Boys, Cooper DeJean played well. Zach Bond was one of the most underrated signings. Uncle Sam, I know you agree with that. He's a free agent again, by the way, Mr. Bond.
Oh, I guarantee you he ain't going nowhere.
They can't afford to keep everyone.
He ain't going nowhere.
They can't afford to keep everyone.
Guarantee you he ain't going nowhere.
I'm telling you, they can't afford it. And then on top of that, they got
I'd love to have him.
They got to pay Nakobe Dean eventually. They got to pay Jordan Davis. Then they got to pay Jalen Carter. Like, they got to pay these guys.
You know what? They got the best GM in football.
They'll
They'll figure it out.
They got the best GM in football.
They got the best GM in football, bar none.
The best GM in football.
Bar none.
Which, by the way, my last takeaway, and this has been a hot topic around here, as you can imagine, you guys both know what I'm going to say. If you're Brad Holmes and you're not sitting there watching that game last night thinking, okay, I need to get aggressive as hell right now to bridge the gap, if you don't come away with Micah Parsons, if you don't come away with one of Micah Parsons, Trey Hendrickson, Myles Garrett, Max Crosby. If you don't come away with,
Crosby's still under contract till 26.
you got to make a trade for him. All four of those names I just named are under contract for at least this season. You need to make a trade for one of those guys just to get you in the conversation of the Eagles defense. You're still not as good as the Eagles defense.
This trade to grab one of these guys, this will open up him to be able to take best player available instead of taking player for need.
You're not taking that.
I hate taking player for need.
They won't
They're
have
going to trade the
picks.
pick.
To
get one of those guys, you got to trade the pick.
If you want to bring this from a Lions perspective, They're not in the same. They're not in the same universe yet defensively as Philadelphia.
No, they're
Granted,
not,
nobody
not
is.
close.
No, but
Nobody
you
is.
can win without being in the same universe as Philadelphia.
Correct.
You can
Or
win.
Philadelphia.
Like I personally, even though they were banged up and didn't play well against Washington, I think if you take the Lions' top offensive line performance from this year against that Eagles defense, I'm not worried. I think they could have held their own. Yeah, you're giving up a few sacks here and there, but I think they could have made plays if they wanted to. The Chiefs
I think if Philly had to come here, they would have run him out of the building.
well, the current incarnation of the Lions,
They were-
yeah,
yeah,
because
that-
everyone's injured.
That team that,
that
played,
matters.
That team that played Washington would have got ran out of the fucking building.
No argument. I'm not
Yeah.
arguing that. I don't disagree. But
They would have got what Washington.
but
got.
the healthy Lions from week 1,
Well, healthy Lions with a full roster, they probably could be in it. I still don't think they have enough to stop them, but
and again, it doesn't have to be Myles Garrett. Like I think Mike,
'cause
there's a really good chance for
truly
Micah
think
Parsons.
Kansas City's defense is a lot better than Detroit's defense.
Oh God, no.
I do.
Please.
I do.
That
think they're-
dumpster fire you
go
watched
up,
last night.
You go up and down that line, dude. Their linebacker core is better. Their
Bolton's a free
secondary
agent.
is not.
Nick Bolton's a free agent,
Yeah.
along with Zach Bond.
Well, you know what? Listen, I think they need to address linebacker. That's my opinion. I've been saying that for 3 years.
They need to address linebacker
need to
because you
address
might
that.
lose Derek Barnes. But if you throw
Goodbye.
in with Campbell and Anzalone,
Goodbye, Derek Barnes.
if you throw in Nick Bolton with Campbell and Anzalone, doesn't that make you feel pretty good?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that make you feel good to have a
100%.
guy that actually plays downfield?
100%.
I love it.
I want a big name signing at all 3 tiers of the defense.
Why don't they go
I
after
wanna-
Mike Dana? Bring Mike Dana here.
He's just a supplemental piece, though. Like they still need someone real
Well,
opposite
Mike
Aiden
Dana.
Hutchinson. They need a real deal, especially if
Could have
Aleem
used him
McNeil's
this
gone.
year.
It's still not enough. They could have used him this year. It's still not enough.
What?
Could have.
I hear you, Bruce. I was just seeing if you were conscious back there. That's
Oh,
all.
I'm conscious.
Leon, is
Okay.
Hurts top 5 in the league? Yeah. I mean, 100%. Hurts, Mahomes, Jackson, Allen. Who am I missing in that conversation there? Hurts, Mahomes, Jackson, Allen.
Burrow.
This year, Burrow, for sure. Those are the 5 right now. I think those are. I think you can't argue those 5.
And realistically, Jalen Hurts is 5.
5 where, dude? 5 where?
If
You
we're
think
going
Jalen Hurts
by
is top 5 quarterback in the league?
if we're
Why?
going by this
Personally,
year,
I don't.
Okay.
if we're
exactly.
going by this year, 4. By this year, for me, 4. I go
I'm not
Lamar
there.
number 1, Burrow 2, Allen 3, Hurts 4, Mahomes 5. This season, the 2024 season.
I think
Those are the 5.
I think Hurts greatly benefited from the fact that he had a run game and he had the best defense.
Yesterday they did it without the run game. Yesterday they did it because of Jalen Hurts.
Kansas City sold out to stop Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, they had
Sold
9
out.
guys in the box the whole fucking game.
We're,
dude.
we're cherry picking though. Agreed.
What do you mean cherry picking. They had 9 guys.
Let
in
me
the box.
finish. They sold out to stop Saquon Barkley.
Right.
Someone else still has to make the plays.
Correct.
And that's
Correct.
Jalen Hurts.
He made
Jalen
the
Hurts
play.
made every play he needed to
Made him-
make.
He made them when asked. There was a few there that were real fucking ugly, but he made them.
First half. It's because Chiefs D
Yeah.
wasn't giving up in the first half.
Yeah.
Chiefs D was very good in the first half.
I mean, you think they were very good as a stretch.
7 points at the end of the first quarter. There's a pick 6 in there. That's 7 points. There was another pick. You know, like that's the difference.
Yeah,
Like,
you
that's
know
Eagles D.
that pick was funny because he kind of jumped that route. He was covering his guy, and the guy had him beat.
DeJean.
Yeah,
As-
he
as-
kind of turned
he-
around
he
and looked
jumped-
at the quarterback, seeing where he threw it, stepped in front of it.
DeJean made a nice play.
That was a-
he's
that
he's
was
gotten
a
better
nice play.
throughout the year.
Right.
DeJean. He wasn't the world beater
Zach
that
Bond
you saw.
play, the
Incredible.
tackle
Incredible.
was pushed right into Mahomes. Was pushed right into him as he was throwing that ball, and Bond really made a good catch on that because I didn't think he was going to catch it. I thought it hit the ground at first, but it was a nice throw. But the tackle was pushed right into him, and he couldn't just go down because he was in the end zone. So
On
that's what
the
it is.
there was one
I
play.
didn't mind the throw. Didn't mind that.
I'm completely off topic here. There was one play. It was I think it was in the 3rd or 4th quarter when the Chiefs went for it on a 4th down. They didn't convert,
Yeah.
and who I think it was Jalen Carter was getting completely held. They didn't call it. It's the play where he drilled Mahomes and got him in the face afterwards. There's no call on it. Jalen Carter was getting held and with one arm just absolutely obliterated everyone in front of him. And God, is that guy good? You didn't even hear his name that much yesterday, and he had such an impact on the game.
Triple team.
And he still had an triple teamed, and he still had an impact on the game. He was that good. Jalix Hunt, who I wanted here in Detroit, and Josh Sweat had monster games yesterday. Josh Sweat's free agent. Josh Sweat's a free agent.
No, absolutely not.
Why?
If it's a choice between Josh Sweat and then Garrett, Crosby, Parsons, and Hendrickson, you're taking one of the big four.
I want top talent.
Yeah, I want the home run.
Top talent.
You need the home run. You need the home run because everyone behind you gets better if your defensive line can't be stopped.
If you're trading capital and trading this, you get a fucking stud. I don't want to get a guy who had a great game.
No.
That's it.
I agree.
Because that's all I see it as. The guy played a great game. That's it.
Can I ask about the decision-making, play calling, coaching of the Chiefs last night?
Yeah. As long as you're cognizant that the game was over after a quarter and a half,
well,
yeah.
I think it was apparent to me, at least, that Mahomes was as soon as Mahomes got out there, he didn't have it. He was shook out of the gate last night. That's again, first time I've ever seen it. But he was shook out of the gate last night. They ran the ball for the game 10 times.
And 5 of those was coming out of the half when they had that good drive coming out of the half.
At what point do you have to look at that they were just completely engrossed?
Because at that listen, by the half,
I'm not talking about the half.
They were so far out of it.
Again,
from go.
I think you're taking too much credit from the Eagles and you're taking too much credit from Vic Fangio and Howie Roseman. And I don't even disagree that Mahomes looked shook. But what happens is when you're running for your fucking life every play, like right before the pick six, it became clear that the game plan was, okay, we're going to let him cook from outside the pocket because he ain't going to convert one fucking pass in the pocket because they were rushing forward and he still had less than 3 seconds to throw the ball. It was insane. So they started to let him cook outside of the pocket. Literally the first play he threw a pick. It was a pick six. So is it yeah, you can say they're underprepared. I just truly think they were, more than anything, they were completely outmatched. The Eagles' D-line was, I've never seen it in a Super Bowl, a talent disparity between two units like I saw between Eagles' D-line and Chiefs' O-line yesterday. I've never seen it. It was that noticeable. The Chiefs' D-line, or Chiefs' offensive line was old and haggard.
I'll tell you what, I thought Philly's offensive line in the run game looked horrible.
The Chiefs' D-line,
they couldn't do anything.
But keep in mind the Chiefs' D-line is very good, though.
Over them.
Keep in mind that's like Chris Jones was playing good until he got injured. Karlaftis has been a monster all year. Dana always stout. The linebackers always get in the run game too. They're at the line of scrimmage for the Chiefs. Like they played well defensively in the first half. I'm just telling you, I don't disagree. Mahomes did look out of sorts. He looked off. It was a bad game. It was one of the worst of his career. But that was a result of the Eagles
doesn't help
being
when you
that damn good.
But you got one of the best receivers in the past 10 years out there dropping fucking balls that are right in his hands too.
It's the same thing.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Because the passes weren't good.
What the fuck?
And it was the same with Kelsey. It's because the passes were not good because if he was in the pocket, there was disruption. There was no comfort or anything like that. Like
DeAndre Hopkins on that fourth down play should come up with that ball. That was bullshit.
It was bad.
That was bullshit, dude. And I'll tell you what, Kelsey had a few of them thrown at his feet. Normally he catches that shit, but being he's so out of shape because he didn't train all fucking off season because he's too busy going to fucking Taylor Swift concerts because he's a fucking idiot anyway. I was just glad I didn't have to hear his fucking voice at the end. It was great. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. The only thing that was worse in the game was the halftime show.
Oh, I'm happy you brought it up. I'm going to get in some trouble for this.
I don't know what the fuck the NFL is doing, but let's do this. If you're not going to bring in, and I don't want to hear that this guy's won 40 fucking Grammys either, because the Grammys are a joke.
Slipknot. We want a Slipknot halftime show.
No, I'm not even going to go there.
Marilyn Manson's
not my
bats next year.
Not my job. They're not going to have my genre of
that.
Music on there. I guarantee you that.
We can get Rammstein at the halftime show.
What I'm saying is this: if you can't get a top tier act, dude, just bring the fucking band out and let them play. Because I am so tired of seeing garbage halftime show. That was one of the worst halftime shows I have ever seen. I was just like, I was like, what am I watching? What is this? And I'm not even going to talk about Kendrick Lamar. I know like one of his songs. That's it. And if you're doing your repertoire and nobody even knows what the fuck it is, you shouldn't be on there. That's awful, dude. It was awful. The choreography was, I don't even know what it was. It was like they were like, just go out there and do whatever you want. It was bad. It was bad. It was awful. I don't know why the NFL wastes their time with fucking, you're a fucking Super Bowl. Bring in some talent, dude. Bring in some fucking real, you're in New Orleans. Put some fucking jazz band out there. You're from that fucking
hype.
city.
That would have been hype.
Put a nice jazz band out there. Fucking dig up BB King and put him out there. Fuck, man, I don't want to see this bullshit anymore. It's the worst halftime show I have ever seen.
Bruce.
And I am not joking.
Bruce, do you have anything to add about the halftime show?
No, I just like the Drake part. That was it.
Sam, do you have anything to add about the halftime show before I go?
Nothing about it that I enjoyed. I didn't think he didn't sound good for starters. Right?
Yeah, it was just off. It was all of it was
the
off.
The acoustics were terrible. Okay, it didn't sound good. Like it did not translate.
His vocals
At the end of the
totally
day,
went up.
at the end of the day, yes, it's great. I don't know how it sounded inside the arena, but historically, the Super Bowl halftime show in the arena does not sound that great because the stadium is not set up for a concert. Right? So
Correct. Bring in the fucking jazz band because jazz is fucked up anyway.
So it didn't-
and nobody knows what it is
I like
anyway.
jazz.
Huh?
I like jazz.
I'm just saying, dude. If that's what it takes, do that. Do something that belongs to the city. Do something that belongs to the city.
It probably didn't sound good in there, and it did not sound good at home. I didn't care for the choreography. At the end of the day, I do agree with him in the sense that it's the Super Bowl.
Can I ask
And,
one question?
Sure.
What was with all the people jumping out of the fucking car? What was that, dude? You know what that looked like? It looked like the border. It looked like the fucking border. Everybody
Okay.
jumping out of the fucking car. And running.
Can I go?
It was awful, dude.
The
It was fucking
choreography
awful.
it just didn't hit. It wasn't special. Like, okay, if you go back and you watch halftime shows, I don't think I was alive for. No, the Prince one was 2007.
Realistically, I did this today. Realistically, halftime shows, like other than a couple like Michael Jackson.
I've watched
and
the
a scattered,
U2 one.
a scattered a Gloria Estefan with Stevie Wonder. Halftime shows started in their current incarnation in 2000. It works perfectly. Dawn of the new millennium. In the 90s, there were some acts here and there. Like I said, Michael Jackson here and there. But in 2000 is when the halftime show started being the halftime show. That was one of the three worst that I've watched them all since 2000. That was one of the three worst that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's
Steven asks in chat is asking why was it so bad? Did
Hold
you
on.
fucking watch?
Steve, he did.
Did you watch it?
He's trying to trigger me right now because
Why
him and
is
I
it
talked
so
about
bad?
this. Let me do this right now.
just
Let me do
told
it.
you why.
Let me do this.
let him do it.
I've spent more time researching this halftime show than any other element of the game. Like I spent 2 hours last night researching this on Twitter, wondering what I was missing and why people thought it was so good. And I have a response. Number one, you nailed a lot of what you said, Uncle Sam. There's one small thing that I disagree with. In the world of music right now, Kendrick Lamar actually is a big deal, and he's
I
worthy
just
of being on the
told you,
stage.
He won 40. He won what? 30 Grammys? 40 Grammys?
He won a lot.
That
He
just
won
tells you how fucked up the Grammys are.
He won Song of the Year. No, he's a big deal. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. There's a reason rappers have never done this before, other than the one in LA, which was all of the rappers, including Kendrick Lamar, who was there. There's a reason rappers haven't really done this before. Rap it's niche. It's you're catering to one demographic. Kendrick Lamar in particular is the definition of that. What he does isn't so much rap as it is interpretive art.
Correct.
So I did a ton of research from the people that did think this was good. I am not one of those people. I did a ton of research into why they thought it was good. I had people calling me crazy and racist and a MAGA cracker last night because I'm like, wait, how am I MAGA because I don't understand this? Supposedly every single element of this show meant something, from Samuel L. Jackson coming out at the beginning as Black Uncle Sam, Okay, Serena Williams crip walking, that had something to do with it. They were doing a semi-Nazi salute. The fact that it was all black dancers, okay, calling Drake a pedophile on whatever, every single element of this mattered to those people. Every word mattered to those people. That's fine. It can both be true that it was creative and interpretive art and outstanding, and that it sucked.
It was dog shit.
Both can be true at
It
the
was
same
fucking
time.
dog
Super Bowl shouldn't be that, though.
Exactly.
The Super Bowl's a fucking party,
There shouldn't
dude.
be a woke agenda
Correct.
on the halftime show when there's so many art like hand up. I didn't think J-Lo and Shakira were gonna be good. That was a top
a
three.
party,
That
dude.
was a top 3
That's what it's
halftime
supposed
show
to be.
ever, and it was so
Listen,
fire.
You can't get
because
better than a couple older Latinas shaking their ass.
They were singing. They were singing perfectly. They were dancing. The set list was perfect. The crowd was perfect. The colors were vibrant. I could understand what they were saying. Okay? People were lit up at the beginning about this show because he said something on the lines of the revolution will be televised. Y'all chose the right time, but the wrong guy, which is supposed to be, oh, he's knocking Donald Trump. That's why, because we picked Donald Trump. Okay, Donald Trump left before the half and didn't see the halftime show. I'm sorry to break it to you that he didn't see that. There doesn't need to be a woke agenda in the halftime show. And you can, if you like Kendrick Lamar, I'm not knocking you. You can think it's good. I'm sure it was good. But that's not what we needed in the Super Bowl. No. A guy mumbling and I can't understand the lyrics. And I get that the last he's not there if he doesn't get in a rap beef 6 months ago. He's not there. Correct. That should have. He's not there if Jay-Z doesn't hate Drake and Lil Wayne and all them. That should have been Lil Wayne. That would have been a party. Lil Wayne in New Orleans. That would have been a fucking party, and it would have been so cool.
Right.
It's okay. Listen, I'm not knocking you, Kendrick fans. I know you like him. I know you think it's art. I know you think he's a really unique part of rap and history. And I know that encompassed all of the liberal agenda. That's cool. I'm happy he did it. It's cool that you think it was good. I promise you, though, it doesn't hold a candle to things that we could have had.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't. I had this conversation last night. I can give you a list of 10 off the top of my head. It's not better than Purple Rain and the rain in Miami. It's not better than the Who blowing the absolute doors off the building in Miami. It's not better than Tom Petty. It definitely wasn't better than the Rolling Stones or Paul McCartney. It wasn't better than Bruce Springsteen. Wasn't better than J-Lo and Shakira. It wasn't better than Lady Gaga. I can come up with a whole list of
Bruno
things.
Mars. Bruno
Mars was outstanding.
He fucking rocked.
When did
and that was a
Beyonce
lot
do it?
better than any of that shit.
Yeah. Beyonce
Even
one
Beyonce was better.
than last year.
Beyonce in Houston a month ago on Christmas was better than that.
And wait a second.
Yeah, and that wasn't that good.
Was there a year where Katy Perry and Lenny Kravitz did it?
Yeah, Left Shark.
Yeah.
That wasn't as bad.
Yeah.
Dude, it's a party. Dude.
Again, I'm bad is the wrong word. I'm not calling it bad because that's
it's bad.
Because for some people that was good. That's not what the Super Bowl needed. It didn't need a bunch of subliminal and people kept telling me you don't like it because you're not listening, because you're not paying attention. What the fuck is this? This is the Super Bowl. I don't need to pay attention. I don't need subliminal messages in my halftime show.
Just rock it.
I want to see people with fucking playing a guitar and going crazy. That's what I want to see. I want to see people shredding the stage up and good dancing. I don't need Serena Williams crip walking because she used to fuck Drake and it was meant to slap Drake across the face. Can I tell you something? Drake doesn't give a shit. He's a billionaire. He's going to come back and more people are going to listen to his music. His agenda doesn't die. We didn't need a bunch of subliminal messages in the halftime show. We didn't need it. I'm sure Kendrick could have chose better songs and had a lot better things going on, and it would have been better. Yeah, he's got great. Old Kendrick is very good.
Didn't they trot Shania Twain out one year?
And she was great.
Yeah, I watched all of them.
And she was great.
Love to see
even
Shania.
Tittygate, Tittygate back in Houston in 2005 was better than this.
Tittygate?
Yeah.
Jackson's titty was
Tittygate
out?
was outstanding. Coldplay with all the other shit. Everyone coming up to help Coldplay. I'd have been fine with just Coldplay.
You know what?
Hey,
I want to see good.
Steven in the chat said they should trot Creed out next year. I agree.
What?
Creed.
I don't know.
That's what people are saying.
Creed
my
is.
brother's a big Creed guy. not me.
Creed from
In
the
fact, my brother
Cowboys halftime
My
show
brother
in
looks like the guy
2004.
from Creed.
Yeah,
Got stabbed.
exactly.
People would have paid to watch Creed.
It's just make it a party, dude. There's nothing about
Listen,
that was
they'll
fun.
never put
It
my
was
music
fun.
on.
And again,
at the
I'm not
Super Bowl.
saying it was bad or for the people who like Kendrick Lamar, that was good. But that's there's 200 million people watching the Super Bowl. give or take. Like, we can't make an agenda for Gen Zs and really woke liberals between the ages of 25 and 40, the Super Bowl halftime show, and then say, oh, you're not paying attention. Now I know who you voted for, and you have no fucking clue who I voted for because I didn't like the halftime show.
This, to me, for me personally, because I do agree.
Gee, I wonder who I voted for.
I get what you said about the rap thing, but the way they did it in L.A. when it was Snoop Dogg and Mary J.
party.
Blige, it was a fucking party. It was still a party. Was it the best of all time? No, but it was a party.
It was what it needed to
Than that
be.
shit
It was
you've seen
It was
lately.
what it needed to be. And back to what you said, it encompassed the city. Just talking about that one, it brought,
It was
you know,
LA.
like the Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger. I saw him at the Townsend that week, and then I was at the game, and his neck flaps were going like this.
Yeah,
that fucking guy was on fire. That guy was on
A
fire.
bad Achilles here. He was hobbling around the stage.
And that was a fire set.
It was awesome.
That was an
And
incredible
I'm not
set.
a fan. I'm not a fan of theirs.
To me, the best halftime show I ever saw, and I know it's not the best. The standard for halftime shows is still Michael Jackson in '93 at the Rose Bowl. But the best one that I saw was The Who. The Who were like, you didn't need to be a white person and you didn't need to like rock and roll to know that these fucking old guys were gonna bring it, and they brought it. Tom Petty was so good. I know you don't like that Super Bowl. It was Super Bowl 42. But Tom Petty was so good in Glendale, and the set list was perfect. And like, that's what I want to see. Like, bring back a good old act that can narrow it down.
And I want to see a real band. I don't want to hear shit just
Get the Foo
pump through
Fighters. What are the
sound
Foo
system.
Fighters up
That's
to?
why it sounded like shit.
Foo Fighters.
All they did was pump that shit through the sound
I've got to ask.
I've been to that stadium. The acoustics
fucking
aren't
garbage.
good there.
Why not? Why are they so opposed to doing country at a halftime show?
Like that, I think that's the person. You're asking the wrong person because I don't
But
like country
as
music.
As far as a
There's
party
certain country
goes,
acts that could blow the doors
Blow the
off a
doors
Super.
off,
There's
dude.
certain country acts that could really kill it.
Absolutely.
That could really
I
kill
just
it.
I don't get it. It's not even because you want, like, take all the agenda shit out of it. Who cares that he was trying to push it? Great. I agree with Zolo. Great. If that's what you want, good. But the Super Bowl is that's
not
what
the
it's supposed
platform
to be.
for it.
It's supposed to be a party. It's the biggest day in sports. Take it out of it, dude. Take it out of it. The Black Eyed Peas were better than that.
Yes.
And the
Fergie. Fergie was better than
I mean,
that.
fuck, dude.
Yeah,
And I don't like them.
Leon, yeah, the weekend was so good. It was the pandemic and the
Yes,
stadium was
it was
half
all
full.
inside,
The weekend
yeah.
was so good.
So
the
much
weekend,
better
the
than
weekend is a top 3 for me. That was a top 3 Super Bowl, like perfect set list because the weekend had a hand in what he was doing too. And again, the weekend was what Kendrick Lamar could have been like. Creatively, it's all there, but there was no agenda for the weekend. It was singing and dancing, and the camera angles and everything. The way it was set up when he came out of the crowd, like Kendrick had all that, but like couldn't understand what he was saying. Number one, number two, like I didn't need an agenda. I don't need to hear Drake be called a pedophile. I'm one of the few people on the planet that doesn't think that song is that good. Okay, and yeah, Drake might be a pedophile. You beat your wife, and most of these rappers are doing like we're gonna get the Diddy Party guest list.
Listen, most of these rappers are all gay.
They're all
anyway,
beating
so
their
I don't wanna
wives.
hear it, dude.
They're all talking to 17-year-olds. Like,
That
you think
kid
Drake
was-
knew he was
that
talking
kid
to a
was 5 feet
17-year-old?
tall
Probably
wearing
not.
Big bells. Hey, he was 5 feet tall wearing big bells. I wore those back in '78. Okay,
Prince, we
So
said that. Mr.
ridiculous.
Randazzo, we said that. Prince, Purple Rain in the Rain is top 10. Like, there's
That was still the best
that's
halftime show.
that's incredible. For me, it's top 5. Number 1 for me still is The Who. The Who was so damn good.
I thought Prince was good.
Prince was
And
good. Paul McCartney
I don't
was
know
good.
why I keep the Rolling Stones. I remember seeing. Well, you were there. That was the only one, and I'm going to tell you right now. There's one that I still find that was worse than what I seen yesterday. It was Paul McCartney.
I thought Paul McCartney was good.
Paul McCartney was awful.
Paul McCartney had to
It
come into
sounded
Jacksonville
awful.
and clean up
He
after
was
Tittygate, a year
awful.
after Tittygate.
Dude, it was so bad. It was so bad.
No, I thought he was good.
I seen Ozzy on his farewell
And
tour
hold
with
on.
Foreigner, and he was garbage. Garbage.
But better than Paul McCartney?
No.
The problem with Paul McCartney. The problem with Paul McCartney is he's got some bomb ass single songs, but like if I'm going to see Paul McCartney, I want to hear some Beatles shit. You know?
No, that's not what you're gonna hear. You're gonna hear his shit.
I'm fine with Live and
His
Let
shit
Die.
is garbage.
Right, yeah.
So,
You know, but I want to see him rock Hey Jude out on the piano. Like that's what I want to see. But
well, you know,
Yeah, no, that was a miss.
Paul McCartney. Who cares?
Other thing, was there anything from the commercials that stood out to you guys?
They were
For
all
me,
shitty.
The
I
Reese's
thought-
commercial, that's it.
I didn't. There was nothing that I saw that was like, oh, this is the commercial.
Seal as a Seal was pretty good.
Seal was good.
That was stupid.
The Mountain
No,
Dew
I like
one was
Seal
pretty
as a
good.
Seal.
Yeah, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Mountain
Seal
Dew?
as a Seal.
It,
I'll be honest with you. I started to do dishes in the second half. Like I missed a lot of the second half, and I didn't really see some of the commercials in the second half.
it was just
The
it
one with
didn't-
Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
Eh.
Sydney Sweeney.
Can I?
Is that really good for?
Sydney Sweeney's always good. She's literally the definition. Whatever the opposite of the Holocaust is, that's Sydney Sweeney. So it's always good to see her. I'll have what she's
that
having.
means, but-
She's just Sydney Sweeney. There's just a lot to like.
Okay.
So somehow this was the most watched game of all time.
Well, the population's going up.
Yeah.
Is that the overnight though?
Yeah. This was number one.
Speaking of most watched game of all time, you could buy club level tickets yesterday, $7,500 club level tickets, the most expensive in the building, for $4,000 2 hours before kick. The aftermarket for that game plummeted. And by the way, I do have another Lions fan take I'd love to give you guys. It set in for me finally yesterday. It took 3 weeks, but yesterday it set in that they weren't playing in that game because the week looked so fun. The week looked so good in New Orleans. New Orleans always looks good. And it just looked like the best, most fun party. And when the teams ran out of the tunnel, when Bradley Cooper came out and John Hamm came out to introduce the teams, that's when it set in. I'm like, wow, that's not us. And who would be introducing us right now? Would it be Eminem? Like who would have came out and screamed that here's our team? You know, like who would it have been? It set in for me yesterday finally.
It just
Never.
And if you guys
never.
disagree with me, you can feel this way. And I don't know if it's the Lions bias. I don't know if it's the fact that I don't like either of the teams. But for some reason, that didn't feel like a Super Bowl. It didn't have that special.
It was the game.
It just didn't have the whole
listen to
thing.
me. I thought it was pretty damn special to see a team that's been
You
dominant for the
pop
last.
boners for defense.
Here we
That's
go.
what it is.
Just you know what, seeing a team that's played as well as Kansas City has the past 3 years,
and
4 years,
completely shit the fucking
and to see them come out and just get dominated by a team that nobody was really giving them a chance to win.
I thought it was super until, I thought it had Super Bowl feel until, especially all week, the whole week in New Orleans. And that's another conversation I want to have with you guys after this. But up until, the second quarter, if the game isn't good, you lose big game feel, you know? It just goes out the window, and it was not a good game.
Them not being able to put nothing together. I
Yeah.
mean, how many yards they have?
I expected...
Would they have 35 yards?
Not a
Some
lot.
shit like that. It was fucking
I expected the Eagles' defense to dominate. I picked the Eagles to win
I
the
didn't think
game.
like that.
I didn't think the game would be this bad. And even in the first, I was telling people, I'm like, yeah, 27's nothing's a lot, but all they got to do is come out and score at the beginning of the half. And then once that didn't happen, that's when I started to do the
Yeah, it
dishes.
was over.
What were you going to say? You said there was something you wanted to bring up after.
There's talk of implementing a rotation for the Super Bowl, and it would be Miami all the time, New Orleans all the time, and then what was the last one?
Frisco?
No.
Vegas.
Oh, Vegas would be 3. And then every fourth year you it's a rotation. And then every fourth year you throw in there's a second tier, which would be San Francisco, LA, Nashville's getting a brand new indoor or a retractable roof, I believe. Atlanta would be in that second tier rotation. And
Agree 1,000%.
we hadn't been to New Orleans since the Har Bowl, which I think was 2012. So 13 years in between Super Bowls. New Orleans is literally the best city to host a Super Bowl. It has a great airport that's kind of far but kind of close. It has endless hotels and places to stay. You could stay in the city and never get in a car for the entire week, and you can walk to the game. You can walk to the restaurants. You can walk to the parties. You can walk to the media availability, the convention center, whatever. You can walk everywhere. New Orleans is a perfect city, and it's hosted the most Super Bowls, I believe. It's either New Orleans or Miami. Miami, to me, is the opposite of a perfect city for a Super Bowl because it's always sprawling. The venue where the actual game is far
as shit,
is far from everything, and it's a shitty venue. It's one of the worst venues.
Miami and New Orleans both have 11.
Okay. So I think it should always be in New Orleans at least once or twice a decade. I think LA is a good spot for a Super
LA's
Bowl.
third with 8.
Vegas got really good reviews last year.
Vegas
That makes a lot of
no-brainer.
sense. But yeah, like, what do you guys think about a potential rotation for the
So
Super Bowl?
right now,
And
it's
what would you put in the rotation?
top spots are Miami, New Orleans, both tied with 11. Los Angeles has 8. Tampa has 5. Phoenix has 4.
Like, even Phoenix, good stadium, absolutely so far from everything and a logistical nightmare to leave. Like, that's not really great. What's good about Phoenix, though, is I know if you do it right at times with the Waste Management Open, which people love, and there's a way to do Phoenix properly. So maybe you could throw Phoenix in the rotation, like as that one of those tier 2 places. But like, I think they should go back to cold weather cities. You can thank Minnesota for blowing that for everyone. Minnesota had such a good Super Bowl. It was a great host, by the way, but it was so cold that then I was like, nah.
No. Okay, so I like the idea of the rotation, and I think pretty much they nailed the cities. I'd put LA in the top tier.
LA,
It should be
Vegas,
LA, Vegas, Miami, New Orleans, and
those 4.
call it. And then your second
Atlanta.
tier, well, your
That's
second,
second
tier,
tier.
would be
Atlanta's
Atlanta,
second tier.
Tampa, Nashville, and Frisco.
Dallas.
Can I tell you something?
Jack.
I've been to Levi's Stadium.
Is
I've
it
been
dump,
I've been to
supposedly?
I've
I
been
have
to
not
half
been.
the stadiums. I've been to half the stadiums. No, the stadium itself is probably the best and most state of the art stadium. I like maybe SoFi is the only one I'm taking over the actual stadium. Like the sight lines, the way it's set up, it's great. Everything else about San Francisco. So it's not even in San Francisco. It's an hour south of San Francisco. To get from Levi's Stadium to San Francisco, Levi's Stadium's in Santa Clara, so it's basically San Jose. To get there to San Francisco, it's so bad. You can't take a car near there. It's so expensive. There's nowhere like next year is going to be a miserable Super Bowl. Miserable. The weather isn't even that great.
That's true. In February, no.
It's like 50, 60 degrees. Like you're far from Napa, which is the only redeeming part of the Bay Area, in my opinion.
Shout out to Dark.
Silicon Valley is cool, where the stadium is. It's cool, but like it sprawls. Like there's no place to be. Like what are you gonna do? You're gonna go chill on the Stanford campus? You know, like there's no actual place that you could sink your teeth into. It's San Francisco, which is 45 minutes at the least north. And it's gonna. I don't think San Francisco should ever host, and it got another one. Which is
Realistically,
weird.
it doesn't make sense to have a Super Bowl anywhere north of Nashville. It doesn't. It doesn't. You're never going to do it in New York because that's a cluster and it's always cold and the stadium's outside. Detroit is great in theory because we would enjoy it, but like Minnesota, nobody cares, dude. Keep it where it goes the best. And it goes the best in Miami, New Orleans, and realistically, when I went to the one in LA, just because of the grounds and the way SoFi set up, they built a Super Bowl city there.
Well, yeah, you could take a car. I mean, they were charging $200 to get a
Yes,
car near it, but
correct.
you could take a car to SoFi and then leave with the car after the game.
Correct.
There's no public transit though for SoFi. That's the problem. They're working on that for the Olympics, and I'm sure the Super Bowl in 2 years is at SoFi again. By the way,
I need to talk about that, if you don't mind. The date for the Super Bowl in 2027 as was announced. It's February 14th.
they making way for that 18-game schedule.
Yep. They pushed it a week.
We're talking about doing that.
They pushed it a week.
Yeah.
It's official. The
Either
date is set.
that
for
or
February.
President's
That's
Day.
well. That's why. That
February
President's
14th.
Day is the next day. That's part of it. They haven't officially done the 18-game schedule, but I'm sure that's factored
That has
into
to
why
be factored in. So
That way everybody's off the next day.
everyone's off the next day. You'd eliminate the
All
preseason.
your, I'm sorry.
Because
all your
the heat index.
blue-collar workers.
Come
are off.
on.
When
dude,
Goodell
really?
spoke, Goodell spoke last week, the heat index on the 18-game schedule wasn't
everybody
where
hated it.
it still doesn't have a lot of love like it should. But before the end of the decade, it's inevitable. This is Goodell's last contract. He's retiring after this contract. Before this contract is up, you're gonna get an 18-game schedule.
I can't imagine they wouldn't. And I think that's your shot right there that they will. They will inevitably do it.
Maybe Tom Brady will be the next commissioner.
He owns a team. I don't think he can be commissioner, can he?
Anyway,
You
he
have to
does
sell the
whatever he
team.
wants, and they allow it.
You know who the commissioner is? You know what the commissioner is? The commissioner is the voice of the owners. So technically, Tom Brady could mosey on over if he wanted to. And
I wouldn't
make
mind
it make
that.
sense.
Could you imagine how bitter Uncle Sam would be if Tom Brady was in charge of it all?
He'll fuck it up.
Never
within a
watch
year.
it again.
He'll fuck it up within a year. They'll get popped doing something illegal.
So yeah, that's that. That was the Super Bowl. What else do we need to discuss as far as that goes?
Should have been the Lions.
Yeah, I mean that would have been nice, dude. It would have been nice. You think
That was
realistically?
our Super Bowl. That was our party.
And I want to pose this question: if hypothetically the Lions, and again I don't think they would have, but they made it to the Super Bowl, do you think that this incarnation, the current incarnation of the Lions team, beats Kansas City?
Yes. Yes.
I do too. I do too.
Not the team that they put on the field at the end of this year wouldn't.
Listen, that Washington game,
It was a fluke.
it was a fluke, dude.
Was
If
no-
they play that game 10 times, the Lions
was
will
no
win 8.
fluke.
They'll win 8 of them.
That was no fluke.
That was a fluke.
They were outplayed, outcoached, everything. That was no
That doesn't mean it wasn't a fluke. Like I think if the
That was
Eagles,
not a fluke.
I think if the Eagles play the Chiefs 10 times, the Eagles win 9 or 10 of them. I think if the Lions play the Commanders,
10
a lot has to go wrong for the Lions to lose, and a lot went wrong, and they lost.
They were outplayed, outcoached.
My argument
no
is that
shit,
doesn't
they were
happen. That
outcoached.
doesn't happen every time, though.
2 of your
That's my
coaches were
argument.
checked out.
Yeah, that is true as well. What do you think the outlook is going forward for both the teams we watched yesterday?
It's not as easy as people think for the Eagles. Like they can't sign everyone, and they have to pay. They have some stud rookies. Like okay, we're talking about last year. They had 3 guys on the field yesterday that were impactful rookies. You had Jalix Hunt, you had DeJean, and you had Mitchell. So that's just 4 years from now. Those guys got to get paid. 3 years from now, Jalen Carter has to get paid, and he's going to get the number 1 tackle in the league money. 2 years from now, Jordan Davis has to get paid. So they can't just like pick and choose where they want. Someone's going to get squeezed out. I think A.J. Brown gets squeezed out eventually. I think that you're going to have to squeeze out someone on their offensive line's sick, but like eventually Lane Johnson's contract has to come off the books, right, to make it all make sense. Like they're going to be drafting an offensive lineman very soon here. You're paying Saquon for how many years? 3?
Yep.
That's about that. There's no future for Saquon beyond the next 2 years after this year, right? They're going to have to get creative, but I mean, I still think they're the important pieces of their core are there. So the Eagles could very much make it back to where because like the important parts of their offense and their defense are all going to be back. Kansas City, different story because a lot of their important parts are aging. Kelsey's aging. Chris Jones, you gave him all that money. He's aging and not playing as well as he was. Who else is there? They can't. I'll bet Nick Bolton doesn't make it. I'll bet Nick Bolton walks. There's other guys like they're already paying guys that they have to sink their teeth into. I'll say this much.
They got Nick Bolton's replacement already, Leo Chanel.
There's still a lot to like about the Chiefs in the future. I just think it's going to be the outlook for them long term. Like I think it's going to be a year or two. One of the biggest takeaways I had yesterday was we overinflated the AFC all year because of how good the Chiefs, who were winning one-score
Buffalo
games,
was.
the Bills, and the Ravens were. I don't think the AFC touched the NFC this year. I don't. I don't think the AFC touched the Eagles. I don't think they touched the Lions. I don't think they touched the Vikings. The only reason we're not talking about it as much over the last month is because the Vikings and the Lions fizzled out the way they did. But I think the Rams could have beaten most of the teams in the AFC. They did beat the Bills. I think that the Rams, I think that a healthy Bucs team would have fared well against some of these teams. I think the Commanders could have fared just as well against the Chiefs yesterday. I think the Lions would have fared well against the Chiefs yesterday. It was just the NFC's year, but I do think that the Bills and the Ravens are going to close the gap even further on
Agreed.
the Chiefs and certainly the NFC next year. So watch out for those two teams. But
I mean, yeah, off the rip, you got Justin Reed, free agent. Trey Smith's a free agent. Humphreys, Marquise Brown, Nick Bolton, Schuster,
Hopkins.
Kareem Hunt, Hopkins. There's a lot of guys
The
that
ghost of.
the Chiefs need to bring back.
they were the Lions. They had to put a lot of Band-Aids on them, and then they got a lot of their guys back, but they just weren't as talented as that's the main thing, is they were not as talented as the Eagles yesterday.
I thought what
Especially
they've done
defensively.
without Tariq Hill has been pretty impressive.
Yeah, and Worthy and Rice are very formidable 1-2 punch for the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a lot to like. Xavier Worthy's very good, so there's a lot to like about that. And
I think
who
he-
knows,
he
Kelsey
kinda
might
showed
come
that
back
last
too.
night. He was, I mean, I get it. It was at the end of the game. It was garbage time, but he was
He was good
still
yesterday.
playing hard.
He was good.
Who?
Worthy.
Worthy's a nice ad for them.
Mhm.
Worthy is that wide receiver of the future for them because I don't really know. I mean, yeah, Rashee Rice, but God,
We don't know what's going to
he
happen.
might
to
end up
him.
in prison for a little bit.
They need to get this kid an offensive line. They need to give
Yeah.
Pat Mahomes like some perennial offensive linemen. Lane Johnson came in at a time for the Eagles 10 years ago, and whenever it was when they drafted him, it was perfect timing. He was the young guy in addition to the vets like Kelsey and who else was on that O-line? The 18 team that won. They had a sick offensive line. Selleck, no.
They had, well, he's a tight end.
No, Garrett Selleck, the brother.
Oh.
They had some good guys.
They had one of the best tackles in football that wound up retiring. I can't remember his name offhand.
We talk about the Super Bowl window quite a
The
bit.
guy that Mulata took his spot.
Oh, Mulata took Jason Kelsey's spot. Mulata moved to isn't he the center now? Or
No, he's the left tackle.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't know his name either.
Can't remember what his name.
Yeah, but Mulata's good. Landon Dickerson, really good.
Now,
You still got a year or two left of
Juergens.
Juergens.
Cam Juergens.
Cam Juergens, yeah.
Becton is a free agent after this year as well.
oh, they bring him back. I guarantee you they bring him.
We talk a lot about the Super Bowl window when we're talking about these teams. Where do you think inside of that window both of these teams are?
The current incarnation of the Chiefs, I think, is done or near done. I mean, they're going to reopen another. They have Mahomes, so they're going to reopen another Super Bowl window pretty soon here. And I think before the end of the decade, they can
I
get
don't
there.
think they're out of it at all. I really don't.
Their division's too good,
They
and they
listen to me,
skated by this year.
They can shore up that offensive line a little bit, and I'm going to be honest with you. I think they need to look at skill position wise. You got to have something outside of what they got there to throw to. And running back wise, I don't know if they are going to stick with these two guys. They need
Yeah,
they need a
Pacheco,
guy that's a
100%.
game
Pacheco will be. That was Pacheco's first career
Yeah.
playoff loss. So
Yeah.
yeah, he'll be back. I agree. They need to that they need to shore up the offensive line. 100%. First
Yeah.
thing that comes to mind. That's going to take.
Secondary.
That's going to take.
secondary needs help.
They need a they need a complement to what's his fit to McDuffie. They need another guy
Yeah.
opposite McDuffie. But regarding the offensive line, that's not going to happen overnight.
No.
That's not something you can retool in one off season. I think
Oh,
that's
I
gonna
agree.
that's gonna take like
Listen, they
time.
haven't really been able to replace Frank Clark when he left. They were
Big hole.
unable to replace him. I mean, I know they brought Karlaftis in, but that other side that Mike Dana plays on, I mean, they're not getting the output out of him that they wanted to get. You know, that's why you see that other dude. I don't know what his name is, number 90. They kept forcing him
He had a
in
good
there
game
in Dana's
yesterday.
spot.
He had a good game yesterday too.
Yeah.
Right? The Eagles realistically because of the young talent.
Next year.
Well, number one, you have Hurts, who's always going to be good. You still have Devontae Smith. For now, you have A.J. Brown. Okay. I don't consider Saquon in that conversation
Barkley for
because it
2
doesn't
years.
matter who's in. It doesn't matter who's at running back. The defense, though, Mitchell and DeJean, rookies. Eventually, Slay will phase out. C.J. Gardner-Johnson's contract was 2 or 3 years, so he's not going to be there forever. Then you got the D line, like the pieces are in the D line and then the linebacker
Their
core.
front seven. is
All of those
good.
guys are going to be back. So realistically, the Eagles could very much be
Yeah,
at or near this position
outside
next
Brandon
year.
Graham, everybody else in Sweat, everybody else is second.
I
second year.
disagree with you. I don't think they're going to be able to keep Bond. I don't. There's something has to give with these contracts, and I don't think he factors in. I think he's going to command. Like, it's the same thing as the Lions with Derek Barnes. Someone's going to pay a lot of money for Zach Bond, and it's not going to be the Eagles because they don't need to. They can plug in whoever. But like a Reed Blankenship, like I don't think he's going to be
They got
there
to see
forever.
if obviously Dean going down when he did, he won't be ready for the start of the
No,
year.
but he could be back in
So
November.
I think you'll see him get re-signed, restructured, re-signed, whatever you want to call it.
Well, I'm happy. I'm happy
Okay.
because in my opinion, the Chiefs window has come to a close.
All right. I wouldn't write him off.
I
Not yet.
I get it.
Too early.
These things can't go on forever. I agree that they need to retool
Yeah.
a lot of things.
Yeah.
Andy Reid is now how old? What, 72 or 73?
Oh. No, dude. Andy Reid's like 60-something years old, dude. The oldest coach in the league is fucking the scumbag.
Andy Reid is 66.
There you go.
56.
Yeah.
I
You got
think
another 5 games.
I think Andy Reid. I think Andy Reid could tie to Mahomes for the end of the decade. I could
Yeah.
see that because he's got a golden goose.
Yeah.
So if he gets a whiff of, I think we could speed this thing because if Howie Roseman's the best GM in football, Brett Veach, the Chiefs GM, isn't far from him. So if he gets a whiff of, we can get this thing back on track in pretty decent fashion in the next couple years, I think Andy Reid will stay until
The way
he's
this
70.
season finished out with them and Chris Jones. Chris Jones might be a cap casualty next year. We don't know this. They got a lot of good young guys in there. That Wharton kid was pretty tough. And
2 years.
they
from
got
now,
some guys in there
2
now.
years from now, they owe Chris Jones $35 million.
There you go. He's gone. I guarantee you. He'll be gone before then.
Overall, I hope next year's better. That's it. Now we have a long time. We've got a long time to wait now.
Yep.
We've got a long
Thank God
time.
it's over. I'm glad it's over.
I don't know. We got the
I've had it.
combine in 2 weeks. We got the
I've had it.
combine in 2
Uncle
weeks.
Sam loves the combine.
Got the combine in 2 weeks.
I'll watch
New-
it. I don't even know why I waste my time fucking watching that shit, but I'll watch it.
New league year, I think, is March 12th or 13th or something like that. So then we got free agency to look forward to.
Oh, yeah.
Got draft season all throughout April, and I think the Lions are going to make a splash between now and all this. I think the next time you see us, we're going to be talking about a really big player that's coming here.
Jalen
That's my
Hurts
Tuesday.
did make it to Walt Disney World today, by the way. Yeah, so that actually, you just led me perfectly into my next question. The next time we're here, which will probably be about a month from now, what do you think is going to be the top storyline of the day?
What's the date?
The date today is February.
No, what's the date when we come back?
Let's see. I have it circled on here. As of right now, it's projected for March 9th or 11th.
So
No.
free agency
It is
starts.
not March 9th or 11th. It's actually realistically March 19th.
The new league year, the negotiating period starts March 10th to 12th. The first day of the league year is March 12th. I think by then we will know where a lot of whatever big like we didn't talk about Aaron Rodgers, who's not coming back to New York, but the indicators.
Oh,
are
yeah.
the fact that he flew to New York was because he wanted to come back. So Aaron Rodgers is probably gonna be playing football. Like, will Aaron Rodgers be a Raider by March 12th?
We forgot to get Uncle Sam's thoughts on that. Uncle Sam, how do you feel about Woody Johnson cutting A-Rod loose?
It's not the first time he's done stuff like that.
Who?
Woody Johnson.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is your boy.
No, it doesn't matter. Aaron Rodgers is going to be somewhere else playing football. Guarantee you that.
Realistically,
I don't think he's done. I don't.
The fact that he hopped on a plane to talk about it is an indicator that he might not be done.
who even does that though? Who takes him?
The Raiders,
Oh,
the Giants.
God.
Giants?
What about Matthew Stafford getting traded to the Giants? I would love that. I think that'd be so bomb.
Just to watch
What?
him
And then put
disintegrate.
Aaron Rodgers
No,
in L.A.?
I think Stafford's still good. No,
Rodgers in L.A.?
Stafford and Cup both go. No, the. I don't think Aaron Rodgers and Sean McVay are. I think that's not happening. Sean McVay's running a system over there where it doesn't matter. Sean McVay could go get Darnold for a year and bridge to his rookie next year.
You think Sean Payton and Aaron Rodgers not Sean Payton, the scumbag?
Cleveland?
I think Aaron Rodgers and Pete Carroll is a very good match.
He's not going to Cleveland, dude. There's no way
He won't
goes to
play.
Cleveland.
He won't play in Cleveland. His ego's not. It's not fit for Cleveland.
Not Cleveland, dude.
It's not fit for showing up to work in Berea, Ohio every day.
I'd have to agree with you there.
Yeah, no. So March 12th, new league year. I think we're gonna know a lot between now and then.
Tennessee.
We're already getting like Cooper Kupp. Like we're already getting names. Miles Garrett asked for a trade. Like, there's gonna be more of this stuff between now and then, and something's got to give. Like there's gonna be moves.
They notified Cooper Kupp that they weren't bringing him
Exactly.
back.
They told Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, they were like, you're out.
You know, and it sounds like there's a realistic chance Stafford gets traded. So let's enjoy
maybe.
this.
He was trying to do that last year.
It's on the table.
They were trying to do that when they had,
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield as the backup over there.
I feel
You brought
bad
him
for
in?
Cooper Kupp.
I think he kind of had like 2 good years. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
That's it.
but his landing spots, right now the top 5 betting odds for his landing spots are Pittsburgh, Washington, New
Washington
England.
would be a lot of fun for Cooper Cup.
New England, and Denver.
The only one I really hate there is Pittsburgh. I think those are. I think you gave 4 pretty good spots for them.
And you'll never guess behind those 4.
The Lions.
Number 5.
The Lions.
The Detroit Lions.
The Lions. Lions will continue to be on those lists because they have cap space.
And you'll never guess who number 6 is.
The Vikings.
Kansas City Chiefs. See, you want to know what the worst part about today is? I obviously it's bittersweet that the season is over. It's bittersweet that we made it to the Super Bowl. All of the above. But the worst part about today is the fact that the Chiefs have been scorned now. So Uncle Sam, through all of next year, and remember this when I'm talking about it, Uncle Sam, through all of next year, like he was this year, is going to just continue on with the same rhetoric about how the road to the Super Bowl goes through Kansas City,
Still
and how the Chiefs are this undeniable force through the entire offseason. And then here's hoping they do the same thing the Jets did this year. Just saying. I already know how this is going to go. I already know. It was like you with the Eagles last year. After the Eagles lost, it was all Eagles. And now it's going to be all Chiefs. Pretty soon you're going to come in here and your haircut's going to look like Travis Kelce.
No, that's going to be you.
No.
Yeah. With Taylor Swift on your arm. Weirdo.
Ohio State sucks asking, what do we think about Garrett to Detroit?
Say what?
It's got to happen, but yeah, I mean, we talked about this a half hour ago. There's no reason to not. You have to hit a home run.
Sorry.
What'd you say?
He just joined. He's sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Thanks for joining.
One of them need to end up here. One of the big 4.
I'm telling you, the name that I think it's going to end up being,
Hendrickson.
no, which I would love Hendrickson. And there's a chance. There's a realistic chance. Micah Parsons. Parsons.
Can I be honest with you? And I don't know why I feel this way, but out of every name between Garrett, Crosby, Hendrickson, and Parsons,
You like him the least?
I like him the least.
I love him. He's on a.
He's a hybrid.
I don't know if that's a true Dan Campbell guy.
I think you can get him. I think he said so much stuff, and he's positive about Dan Campbell that you can make him a Dan Campbell guy. The obvious Dan Campbell guy is. Well, it's actually not obvious, but it's Max Crosby. But Trey Hendrickson is very familiar with how they run their defense and is also Dan Campbell-esque.
Right.
I was actually kind of surprised they didn't go for. I mean, we don't know if they did or not.
The Bengals weren't selling. They were teams that remember the parity in the league is weird now to where the trade deadline's too early. So there were teams like the Bengals and the Dolphins that should have been selling and they weren't selling, and therefore they hung on to Hendrickson, who doesn't want to be there. So Trey Hendrickson would be great. I would love that. And that's like if you get a half a Hutch opposite Hutchinson. What Myles Garrett does as a game record is different than what Aiden Hutchinson does as a game record. If you get another high motor guy that is like a crackhead every single play like Aiden Hutchinson is, that's formidable. That's Eagles D-line-esque. That's very difficult to contain. That's we can rush for in the Super Bowl and win the game. That'd be nice, but it's not that easy, unfortunately.
Before we end, what was your favorite moment from this football season, Uncle Sam? Is there one that sticks out to you? Zolo, I'm going to ask you the same question. What was the best moment this year? Your most memorable one that sticks out to you, a game, a play, a player, something notable that you'll remember from this year? Zolo, you care to go?
Yeah, but they're biased.
Go ahead. That's fine. I don't mind bias.
Bruce, you can back me up here. The vibes after beating Green Bay at home on Thursday Night Football with all those injuries, and then beating Minnesota to like, if that was the peak of the year, that win against Minnesota to clinch the 1 seed, like no matter what, like it should have been our year, but no matter what, like they got a 1 seed. Like they met some crazy expectations with a lot of injuries, and beating that high after beating Minnesota and getting a bye and like having a Lions team in our lifetime meet really absurd expectations was cool, and they're only going to be higher next year with a harder schedule. So for me, it was those two, and the low was like I cried when Aiden Hutchinson got injured. I knew that they would never be the same after that, and even though
My high was them putting a fucking ringer to Jerry Jones. Fisting Jerry Jones in Dallas. That was my high.
What was your high?
No, that was my favorite game of the year, was them absolutely thumping the Cowboys. Because you remember the Cowboys weren't being thumped until then.
Andrew, is Dusty May leaving Michigan for Indiana? I think Michigan can money can in that one, so we'll see. But I don't know. It's a good point. I don't think so. I think Michigan's a destination job. I don't think it's a pushover job, especially over the last 2 decades. Indiana doesn't hold a candle to Michigan. But we'll see. It's his dream job. That's home. And if Indiana can come in with more money, then yeah. Leon, Debo's getting traded. Yeah, Debo's probably getting traded.
Yeah.
That's another one to look forward
It's
to.
going to be a cap casualty.
Elizabeth, we will tell Bruce to switch the fucking camera angles.
What?
Oh, Leon brought up a good point. One of the highlights of the year was him coming on and giving you that hat.
Oh, that was it. I wasn't here. That was when I was in Maine.
What was your highlight of the year?
My highlight of the year was the Bills-Lions game. That was one of the only games I went to this year. I know they lost. I know it wasn't the way that we wanted it to go, but I thoroughly enjoyed being there. For me, that was a highlight. And then, honestly,
Vibes were high going in.
vibes were so high. The place was electric. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And honestly, other than that, just those fall Sundays where you get to sit and watch Red Zone, like those are the ones I enjoy the most. The winter ones I really don't care about.
The crisp fall Sunday.
But like those September ones where
with
it's
the
not
window
shitty
open and the
out.
chilly.
Yes.
When the season first starts.
Yes.
And
When you're
it's sunny everywhere.
the fantasy mock drafts, the sun is out, it's not dark at 4 o'clock. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. Bruce, what about you?
All year long, baby. Everything was a highlight. That was the top dog. Besides losing to Buffalo.
Everything was just high.
That sucked. That was the low. Losing to Buffalo was probably the low. Everything else, besides playoffs, was pretty up there.
He sounds like Kendrick Lamar. I can't hear what he's saying.
All right, with that being said, that's the end of the season. We've ended another season here. We're coming back. We'll be back. We need another season, don't you think? Don't you think?
Yeah, we'll
Aren't you
see.
excited? I'm
See what
already
happens.
excited to come back. I'm already excited to come back.
See what happens.
Before we end this season, Uncle Sam, what do you have? What do you have to say before we go?
What do I have to say?
Yeah, what do you got to have something to say?
It's real simple. I want the NFL to take a serious look at the kickoff shit. I want that eliminated because it's stupid and it's awful, and you're taking the element of surprise away from the onside kick. And I think that needs to change because I think some of these games outlooks of some of these games could have been a lot different if the kickoff was where it should be. Put it back the way it was and stop touching it. Every play should be fucking reviewable. So they need to stop fucking around. Every play should be reviewable. The roughing the passer, the quarterbacks need to get down on the fucking ground. If they continue to run, they should be live game. And I'm tired of seeing it. They need to address it because it just makes the game even worse. If they don't address that, the bullshit you see going on with the refereeing and all that shit is just going to continue on.
You just think it's going to get worse?
You think it's going to get worse?
I'm
I do
asking
too.
you.
I think it's going to get worse. They don't address it, it's going to get worse. They need to open up the rosters. I think 53-man roster is bullshit. It should at least be 58, 59. It's bullshit.
Zolo, what do you have? What do you have to closing statements on this season?
Next year is our year. I'm looking into flights to San Francisco because next year's the year. I promise. Go Lions.
Bruce?
Adios and vaya con Dios.
Wow. Rigo's really
What was
rubbed
that?
off on him, eh?
What was that?
Adios and vaya con Dios. I just want to thank everybody for joining us for another wonderful season here. And we're going to come back better than ever, ready, refreshed. Pretty soon, we're going to be talking combine. We're going to be talking free agency. We're going to be talking draft. That's Uncle Sam's favorite time of year.
No, thank you.
We're going to
I'm
be
retiring.
talking fantasy before
This is
you
my
know
last episode.
it. Hey, before you know it, you're going to be getting tipped softball updates.
Oh, God.
Oh yeah. For the what are we gonna do now crowd? I got a long list. We have tip meets, but literally this week there's a best on best hockey tournament which we haven't had since 2014. There's only 4 teams, but Team USA and Canada play Saturday, and it's gonna be fucking awesome. It's in Montreal. Sweden and Finland. It's the 4 nations face-off. The championship game I think is the beginning of the week next week, and the Wings have played their way into a playoff position. The Tigers, any second now, are going to announce Alex Bregman. At least that's what I'm telling myself. But they increased their payroll. They had an okay offseason, and they're coming off of that big thing that they did in September and October last year.
So are you saying we're going to be tipped foul and tip pucks?
I'm not done.
Ooh.
The Pistons are the 6th seed right now and playing damn good, and they were low-key buyers at the deadline and getting better. And Cade Cunningham's an all-star. He's in the three-point contest on Saturday night. Michigan State had a little bit of a rough week last week, but Michigan State is, I think, 11th in the country or whatever. They're not bad. Michigan basketball is back. They're pretty good as well. They're number 20 in the country, so we have the college basketball to look forward to as well. What did I miss? There's a lot to look forward to.
Michigan Panthers are going to be here pretty
Michigan
soon.
Panthers are coming back. We got the draft. Like it's still going to be a fun 2 months, but you just need to be patient. That's all. Football will be back before you know it. But next year's our year.
Well, with that being said, I want to thank you all for listening to not only another episode, but another season of the Tip Balls podcast. And we will be back next season better than ever, bigger and better than ever. Until then, you should keep up with us on social media at Instagram at Tip Balls, TikTok at Tip Balls Podcast. Yeah, we're going to be posting on TikTok a little bit during our hiatus for the next month. So, you can see Bruce's pinkness and Uncle Sam's, whatever he is, and all of us there. With that being said, thank you guys. We couldn't do this without you, and we cannot wait till next season, which, middle of March, we'll be back with hopefully some big Lions news. See you guys. Have a good month.